Folks, I want to let you know some breaking news. Now, I'll attribute this because we don't have it confirmed, but from the Jerusalem Post, they are reporting that there have been rockets fired at southern Israel and that 6 people have been injured. Now, you always wonder what's the reaction in the Middle East to these kinds of things. Let's talk about this and about the deals themselves with Scott Feltman. He is Vice President, One Israel Fund. Scott, two things are connected, but would you be surprised?
They're always connected. In fact, anytime that there's any type of positive news coming out of Israel, the Palestinian Arabs, especially those down in Gaza, always use this opportunity to increase their terrorist activities. We see it all the time in my organization.
Well, then let me ask you about this. The Palestinians, have they missed their window?
I don't think they've missed their window, but I do think that they continually miss opportunities. Israel is always open and willing to sit down and discuss peace, as they do with any of their Arab neighbors. That's all they've ever wanted, is to live in peace. They've wanted it for 72 years. Thankfully, as of today, they have it now with 4 nations, and they've always had an open invitation to the Palestinians, but it's the Palestinians who refuse to sit down.
Yeah, indeed. Let's talk about that with Ambassador Ido Aharoni, and he is former Israeli Consul General. Sir, give me your take on what happened today.
Well, I think what happened today is extremely important. These are the first agreements that we signed that are all about normalization. In the Middle East, oddly enough, you have to sign a peace agreement in order to have non-belligerency. In many ways, normalization is more important than that, because you have to have peaceful relations in order to fully normalize the relations. We have peace agreement with Egypt and Jordan with no normalization. So normalization first is very, very important. And I'd like to add to what my esteemed co-panelist here said, that the fact that the veto power on normalization was taken away from the Palestinians is a move of profound strategic importance.
Have we reached a point, Ambassador, where the biggest threat to the Arab countries is no longer considered Israel? It's considered Iran.
Absolutely, and I'll tell you more than that. The digital revolution made it clear that the #1 human asset today is not oil or gold, it's human creativity. So when the young generation of new Arab leaders are looking around and they're seeing their oil reserves depleting, and they're seeing all sorts of other transformations and transitions in society and economy and sustainability, and they see Israel as the natural, most immediate strategic partner if they'd like to adapt to the new technological realities of the 21st century. Israel is the key for them to remain relevant in the 21st century, and I think that's a main motivation.
Yeah, so it sounds like, Scott, the focus on what's going on with the Palestinians from these other Arab countries is lessening in importance to them. That doesn't mean if you didn't give them some sort of 2-state solution, they wouldn't say, okay. But we already saw that offered in the past, and we saw what Arafat walked away from in 2000, including, what was it, 92% of the West Bank, plus Gaza, plus capital in East Jerusalem. He walked away from as good a deal as I think anybody could have gotten, right?
Correct. And again in 2008 when Omer offered it. They've always walked away because at the end of the day, they've never really shown that they really want to live in peace. And the Arab nations now are showing us that while they would, they always deferred to the Palestinians in the past, they're not deferring to them anymore, because they have bigger issues than the lowly Palestinians, who have the most corrupt government probably in the entire Middle East as well. So they look at Israel as being this partner now in a regional alliance, standing up to nations like Iran, but also bettering their own lives and their own situations, whether it be agriculture, whether it be high tech, whether it be militarily. You know, Israel has so much to offer and has always wanted to be able to work together with its regional partners or regional neighbors. That having them now as partners can only show the Palestinians that they better get on the train or the train's going to pass them by.
That's the feeling I get when I look at this. I feel like it's not 1948 anymore. It's not even 1998. We've moved on in a lot of these issues. The priorities have changed. Scott Feltman and Ambassador Ido Aharoni, thank you so much, gentlemen, for being with us.